From multi-story lanes to super complicated roadways, it's time to take a drive around the world. We're counting down 15 of the most intricate road interchanges. Number 15. Parc Nous de la Trinidad in Barcelona, Spain. Parc Nous de la Trinidad in Barcelona is a clever example of urban planning that combines green spaces with practical infrastructure. The park, which is located at the Sant Andreu district, is built at the intersection of several major highways. It turns what could have been a gray and boring interchange into a multifunctional public space, which could be a blueprint for similar developments elsewhere. The park covers an area around 30 acres, and it's specifically designed to coexist with the transportation network that surrounds it. Its name refers to the knot-like tangle of highways that meet there, reinforcing its role as a transportation hub. Well, this raised a number of issues for the designers, of course, but they turned these into opportunities by creating a layered structure that deals with the flow of vehicles and the needs of the people. Pollution. The park's vegetation and plants and landscaping all help reduce the noise and air pollution from the surrounding traffic. Rows of trees, shrubs, and grassy areas act as natural barriers that absorb the sound and improve the air quality. This is surely got to be the most unusual interchange on Earth. Number 14. The High 5 interchange in Dallas, Texas. The High 5 interchange can be found at the junction of the Central Expressway, which is also known as US Highway 75, and the Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway, which is also known as Interstate 635. It's one of the most complex and famous freeway interchanges in the US, and it was opened in 2005 after 4 years of construction work. It gets its name from its tall design, which includes 5 stacked levels of roadways. At its highest point, the structure reaches over 120 feet or 37 meters tall, with an aerial view out across the surrounding city. The old interchange, which was built in the 1960s, was unable to handle the massive increase. They were designed with longer merging lanes, reduced curved angles, and plenty of clearance to prevent bottlenecks. Those features have helped to create a much smoother flow of traffic and have massively reduced the risks that are usually associated with such a large-scale interchange. Number 13. The Laguna Garzon Bridge in Uruguay. The Laguna Garzon Bridge in Uruguay is a surprising example of modern architecture and environmentally conscious design. Located on the southern coast of Uruguay, it's a circular bridge over the Laguna Garzon, which connects to the departments of Maldonado and Rocha, almost looking like a digitally altered image. This was completed in 2015 and has become a famous landmark in the region. Unlike straight bridges, this design creates a roundabout in the middle of the water, and the circular layout slows down traffic, which gives drivers and pedestrians a chance to take in the views of the lagoon and its surroundings. The bridge replaced the traditional ferry system, which had been the only way of crossing the lagoon. Now, while the ferry was functional, practices to reduce the environmental impact. Even the circular design was chosen for its smaller footprint compared to a traditional straight bridge. Amazingly, the bridge only cost $10 million to build, with a large amount of that coming from Argentine businessmen, showing how useful private-public partnerships for infrastructure projects can be. The project, as a result, has been celebrated for balancing economic development with environmental preservation, which is increasingly important in projects around the world. Number 12. Katipara Junction, India. Katipara Junction in India is one of the largest cloverleaf interchanges in the whole country. Found in the southern part of the city, it connects several arterial roads. This massive structure is therefore a major link that handles the movement of vehicles across Chennai, which is one of India's busiest cities. As its population continues to grow and its status as a major economic and IT center expanded, the need for a modern solution became clear. The flyover project, which was part of the National Highways Development Project, was a much-needed link for the transportation of goods as it connects industrial zones and the port to the outer regions of the city. The sheer volume of vehicles, especially during rush hours, does, though, continue to cause traffic management issues even now the interchange has been completed. Over the years, the authorities have introduced additional measures such as traffic diversions and improved road markings to improve its operation, but as is often the case for urban planners, conversations are underway to see if new infrastructure can be built elsewhere to further reduce the load on this particular interchange. Number 11. The Turbine Interchange in Jacksonville, Florida. It's not really often that you'd consider how beautiful any stretch of road is, but there's no denying that there's something elegant about the Turbine Interchange in Jacksonville, Florida. Found at the intersection of Interstate 295 and State Road 202, it has, as the name would suggest, an efficient turbine-like design, which helps reduce congestion while ensuring a steady flow of traffic. This design reduces the risks of accidents. Engineers used phased construction techniques, ensuring that lanes were often open wherever possible while the new ramps and overpasses were built. But one of the biggest advantages of the turbine interchange is the way it handles high volumes of traffic. By eliminating the need for tight loops and reducing the number of conflict points compared to a cloverleaf design, it offers a smoother driving experience and, importantly, the improved signage and lighting help with navigation, especially for drivers who aren't as familiar with this area. Since completion, the reduced travel times have helped with local economic growth, with new businesses and developments springing up nearby. While it is the first of its kind in the world, it's unlikely things will stay this way for long, with designers from elsewhere being impressed by how well the traffic keeps moving, and even with the environmental benefits this offers. Number 10. Avenida 9 de Julio, Buenos Aires. Avenida 9 de Julio in Buenos Aires, Argentina is claimed to be the widest avenue in the world, with a width of around 460 feet or 100 center of everything, but this also means that it is infamous for its complexity and congestion, particularly where it acts as a traffic interchange. The biggest challenge of using it as an interchange comes from its size and the volume of traffic that uses it each day. With so many lanes, drivers often find themselves confused about which lanes they need to be in to access connecting streets. The lack of generous merging zones or transitions between intersecting roads can result in sudden lane changes and frequent bottlenecks. Pedestrians also face challenges when crossing it, because even though there's a number of pedestrian crossings with traffic lights, it often takes several light cycles to cross the entire thing, depending on the traffic. This has led to frustrations for both pedestrians and drivers. Plans have been put in place in an attempt to improve the traffic flow along the avenue. The Metro bus, for example, is a rapid transit bus system that runs along the center of the avenue and offers an effective alternative. Urban planners have also introduced signs and lane markings to make it clearer to traffic to 1983. Built in the 1960s, the interchange was designed at first to handle the traffic demands of that era. However, Chicago grew into one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country, so the interchange became a notorious bottleneck. With over 400,000 vehicles passing through it each day, it quickly earned a reputation as one of the most congested stretches of highway in the nation. Seeing the need for modernization, the Illinois DOT launched a massive reconstruction project in 2013 to fix the problems. This project, originally estimated to cost $535 million, eventually cost more than $800 million because of its size. It aimed to improve traffic flow, enhance safety, and reduce travel times by adding new lanes, reconstructing ramps, and reconfiguring the roadway layout. This was difficult to do without majorly disrupting traffic while it was being built, as it has a central location and the huge volume of traffic it handles. Any closures or delay could have far-ranging effects across Chicago. Despite the efforts, though, the project faced criticism for delays and forms of transport, and for now at least, it's been a massive improvement over what was there previously, even if it is a hugely complicated structure. Number 8. The Nanpu Bridge Interchange in Shanghai, China. The Nanpu Bridge Interchange, which is in Shanghai, is one of the most visually impressive interchanges in the world. It's located at the base of the Nanpu Bridge, which crosses the Hangpu River. This interchange is a central part of the connection between the city's downtown area of Puxi with the Pudong district. Opened in 1991, the Nanpu Bridge and its interchange were part of the wider efforts to modernize the transportation network. Now, what makes this particularly interesting is its unique spiral design. Instead of a traditional cloverleaf or linear interchange, the designers created a multi-level circular ramp that rises and falls in a helical form. This spiral ramp has since become a symbol of Shanghai's modern and creative approach. The interchange connects the Nanpu Bridge, part of the city's inner ring road, to several major roadways in downtown Shanghai, and it's helped with economic growth and reducing travel times for commuters and freight. It's also set an example for other large-scale infrastructure projects in China, showing how clever designs can solve problems, even with such space constraints. Moving on to number 7, Meskel Square in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Meskel Square, which is in the center of Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, is one of the city's most important landmarks, and it's a bustling hive of activity, known for its cultural, historical, and transport importance. Functionally and without any markings, Meskel Square is a major traffic artery for the city, connecting several key roads and serving as a junction for vehicles traveling in and out of the city. Despite this critical role, the square is notoriously chaotic with no traffic lights or clear lane markings. Now this makes it an absolute free-for-all, where all drivers, pedestrians, and sometimes even animals move about in what seems like an unspoken, fluid system of organized disorder. And as a public venue, renovations have included improving landscaping, lighting, and the seating areas, while still keeping its open layout to ensure it remains a space for events and everyday use. Its chaotic flow of traffic, though, remains mostly unchanged, and it will remain a quirky part of Addis Ababa's identity for at least everyone who doesn't live there. Number 6. The Magic Roundabout in Swindon in the UK. Roundabouts, they aren't exactly the most popular features of a road network, as there always seems to be someone who has been confused about how they're meant to use it. A single roundabout, though, is incredibly simple compared to other versions that can be found around the world, with probably the most intricate and ridiculous one being the Magic Roundabout in Swindon in the UK. Located near the county ground, which is home to the Swindon Town Football Club, this junction was built in 1972, and it's since become an important part of the local infrastructure. Now it's made up of a large central roundabout that is then served for continuous movement. While it may appear chaotic at first, studies have shown that the Magic Roundabout is much more efficient than a single one, with traffic flow being smoother and accidents, when they do happen, being less severe because of the lower speed vehicles use. Locals and experienced drivers often say how good it is, though, and that with a little practice, it's simple to use. Clear signs and lane markings do try to help guide drivers, but the design certainly does require more awareness. Other designers around the world have looked at this one with interest to see if it could be replicated elsewhere, and its effectiveness has been a subject of analysis by traffic engineers and urban planners. It has gone on to inspire similar systems, such as in Colchester and Hemel Hempstead in the UK, and it's a great example of how unconventional solutions can sometimes be the most effective, particularly in managing complex urban traffic patterns. If there was ever a celebrity roundabout anywhere in the world, then it surely is this one, passing through one of the busiest urban spaces on Earth. Originally built in the 1960s during the height of freeway expansion in LA, this interchange was designed to deal with the growing number of vehicles in a quickly developing region. Today, the interchange is famous for its congestion, but this is because it handles an estimated 1.7 million vehicles per day. The reason this congestion becomes so bad is that it's where several major routes meet, each of which has unique purpose of its own. The I-5, for example, is a major north-to-south corridor, and the I-10 links the west coast to the rest of the country, and the SR-60 is an east-west connector for goods and commuters. That range of functionality means the interchange is used not only by local traffic, but also by the freight trucks and long-distance travelers, which multiplies the number of vehicles passing through. There have, of course, been attempts to deal with the challenges that have developed in the East Los Angeles interchange, and over the years, the California Department of Transportation has implemented measures like adding high-occupancy vehicle lanes, improving signs, and Number 4. The Turcotte Interchange in Montreal. The Turcotte Interchange in Canada is a hugely important piece of infrastructure and one of the busiest interchanges in the country. It's to the southwest of downtown Montreal and connects three major highways: Autoroute 15 and the Décarie Expressway, Autoroute 20, which connects to the Pierre-Elliott Trudeau International Airport and beyond, and Autoroute 720, which is known as the Ville-Marie Expressway. Like many other parts of the road network, it was built in the 1960s, but it was seen as a hugely advanced concept for the time. It was part of Montreal's highway expansion to prepare for the 1967 World Expo, which was all about demonstrating the city's growth and modernization. As the decades passed, however, the structure began to show its age, and with Montreal's harsh winters and constant freeze-thaw cycles, there has been significant wear and tear, leading to some structural issues and safety concerns. With over 300,000 vehicles passing through it each day, including a large number of heavy, reconfigured some of the routes to make merging and lane changes safer and more intuitive. Green spaces were added around the interchange to reduce its environmental impact and improve the area's appearance. And while there was concern about how long it took and the end cost, the new Turcotte interchange is a major improvement over the original. Traffic flow is now smoother, the risk of accidents due to crumbling infrastructure is gone, and the inclusion of sustainable designs, features such as improved stormwater management systems and noise barriers is in line with a growing focus on environmentally conscious urban planning. Number 3. The Gravely Hill Interchange in Birmingham, UK. The Gravely Hill Interchange, which is more commonly known as Spaghetti Junction, is one of the most famous interchanges in the UK. It's located in Birmingham. It's at the junction between the M6 motorway and several other major roads, including the A38 Aston Expressway and the A5127. It has become known for its intricate design, which amazingly includes intertwining roads, and it's a name that's stuck ever since. The interchange has become a vital part of their transport network, and it's now used by around 200,000 vehicles a day, which means it's one of the busiest interchanges in Europe. Its high volume of vehicles has also led to some regular congestion, though, particularly during peak hours, with accidents and breakdowns often making those delays far worse. Ongoing maintenance here is a constant requirement, often involving lane closures and diversions that can make congestion even worse, but this is, of course, a preferable option to rebuilding the entire interchange. Noise barriers have now been installed to reduce the impact of nearby residential areas, and improved drainage systems have been added to manage any runoff from the roadways. But since opening, Spaghetti Junction has become a part of Birmingham's identity. Its complex design, featured in countless media from films, televisions, and photography and art, represents the industrial and infrastructural backbone of the city. For some, it's a sign of the century, but the rapid growth of Washington, D.C. metro area in the following decades led to an exponential increase in traffic. By the 1980s, the interchange had become notorious for congestion and confusion, with outdated designs featuring sharp curves and short merge lanes, which caused bottlenecks and accidents. As one of the busiest interchanges in the region, it handles more than 430,000 vehicles each day, making its modernization a priority for local and federal transportation planners. The project, which was completed in 2007 after nearly a decade of work, was one of the largest and most expensive highway infrastructure upgrades in the U.S. This overhaul transformed the Mixing Bowl into a state-of-the-art interchange that's now capable of handling modern traffic demands. The Mixing Bowl features a complex network of more than 50 bridges and ramps that are spread across multiple levels and connect 3 interstates and their associated local roadways. The design features high-capacity flyovers, which allow vehicles to bypass the ground level and have future-proofed this interchange for a long time to come, and by using the latest engineering techniques, it is expected to be able to handle increasing and changing traffic demands. Number 1. The Huangjie-Wan Interchange in Chongqing, China. The Huangjie-Wan Interchange in China is undoubtedly one of the most complicated road exchanges. It's become well known for its intricate structure and its ability to handle huge volumes of traffic. Completed in 2017, the interchange has been likened to a 3-dimensional traffic maze, and it's located at the intersection of several expressways. Chongqing is a city that's known for its hilly terrain and rivers, and these pose unique challenges for urban infrastructure. The interchange is the peak of creativity, and it was designed to optimize land use while working its way around the steep slopes of the limited flat areas. To do this, it features 5 stacked levels, 20 ramps, and over 15 possible routes, allowing vehicles to move easily between the intersecting highways. It's well known, though, that this interchange can be extremely complicated for first-time users, and maybe too much so. Its many levels and complex design require clear signs and GPS assistance to ensure you take the correct routes. To help with this, the local government has introduced advanced traffic management systems, including electronic displays and road markings to help guide drivers. But the most difficult thing about it was building it in the first place. The project took over 8 years to complete and required careful planning and execution. Engineers had to take account of the seismic activity, designing the structure to withstand any potential quakes. And it was also important that the project didn't make the congestion problems even worse while it was being built, which proved to be pretty tricky with such a fast increase in the local population over the last few decades. Well, since opening, it's proved to be a complete success, and it's another example of China's massive infrastructure development in recent years. Rather than copying designs from elsewhere, it's becoming more common, like in this case, to design an interchange that's